Hey, son, how's the first week of college going?
Hi, Dad. I miss you. This new invention finally allows me to call you internationally. It's so crazy. I can't believe we are talking, even though we are thousands of miles away.
I know, right? This is unbelievable. These new fiber optics are a critical point in history. They paved the way to the future. I remember back in my day when we had to deliver on horse and buggy. But now we can get messages across the world in like one day.
But how do these fiber optics work?
The invention of the optic fiber, originally thought of by Alexander Graham Bell, invented by Narinder Kapani Singh, and improved upon by Charles Kuen Kao, paved the way to a communicational and technological frontier in history. The creation of optic fibers was a major turning point that provided the world with a new generation of faster Wi-Fi, international long-range calls, and more efficient technical equipment. The history of fiber optics started with Alexander Graham Bell. Along with the telephone, he created the photophone in the 1880s. This used light to carry information from one place to another. However, bad weather and nighttime stopped it from being useful. This resulted in the photophone being deemed impractical until two major inventions were created: the laser and the optical fiber. An optical fiber is a thin and flexible thread of glass, thinner than a cat's whisker and up to 6 miles long. It is used to carry light information over great or short distances. The original inventor of the fiber optic is Narinder Kapani Singh. Narinder Singh was born in Punjab, India on October 31st, 1926. He died on December 4th, 2020. He invented the first actual fiber optic based on an Irish inventor's experiments 3 decades earlier. Narinder Singh's fiber optic was used to transfer images through bundles of optic fibers. However, his invention often had impurities during manufacturing. This resulted in his fiber optic to be often impractical.
Up next will be an interview with Narinder Singh about fiber optics.
Of those days. And I worked for about a year and a half on trying to make glass fibers and align them in a way so that you can show that they can transmit light and images together.
In the 1960s, a Chinese inventor named Charles Kuen Kao improved the fiber optic. He finally made it practical to use. Charles Kuen Kao was born in Shanghai, China on November 4th, 1933. He was the first one to discover the special physical properties of glass. He also discovered that he needed to purify the glass in order for the glass to carry large amounts of light information. Using the specially purified fibers and lasers, Charles Kuen Kao created a way to digitally transmit data. This laid the foundation for high-speed data communication, which ultimately led to an important technological and social turning point in history. The introduction of optical fibers will revolutionize the communications network.
Next up will be an interview with Charles Kuen Kao about fiber optics.
Well, at that time, when optical communication was regarded as a possibility, all the people in the transmission business says this is something that's going to change the communication world very significantly. So we were all very excited that we can put so much more information onto the transmission medium.
In the 1970s and early 1980s, fiber optics changed how people communicated. Before fiber optics, communication was slow, expensive, and unreliable. The distance people could communicate was also limited. This hindered people's desire to communicate. However, when the fiber optic was improved by Charles Kuen Kao, people all around the world started catching on. This resulted in an increase in international communication. Other than international communication, fiber optics also could be used for video transmissions, alarm systems, television, medical devices, night vision goggles, monitoring parts of a car, helping with driving safety, military defenses, and more. Germany used fiber optics to transfer important documents and videos. Disney Epcot used fiber optics to talk to visitors. France and Canada used fibers for television channels. Optic fibers also made the endoscope, a medical device used to see inside the human body without surgery, and image conduits, which are used to directly transfer images from one place to another. There are three main types of fiber internet: including fiber to the node, FTTN, fiber to the curb, FTTC, and fiber to the home, FTTH. The main difference between these types of networks is that FTTH offers faster internet speeds at a higher price, and FTTC and FTTN are used to provide fiber networks to people at less expense. All these uses of fiber optics led it to become a crucial invention in order for the world to advance.
The structure of a fiber optic cable is complex. There's film inside each wire, which is made out of fiberglass. The glass that makes the fibers has to be pure so the light doesn't scatter. This fiberglass helps reflect the signals and energy inside the wire. There are two parts of a fiber, the core and the cladding. The core transfers the light, while the cladding acts like a mirror and reflects it. Rooms called clean rooms, which are used to filter dirt and dust, are used to make the fibers. Workers inside the clean room must wear jumpsuits or lab coats to prevent contamination. There's a hollow tube where the glass is melted to cover the inside of the tube. After this, the glass is sucked out of the tube. Now, the heat is increased, which makes the glass collapse into a preform, which is cooled and then tested. It is then heated in a furnace and is pulled like taffy to make a fiber. Finally, it is coated with a fast-drying plastic to protect it from being scratched or damaged.
Fiber optics created many new opportunities for the world, but has compromised us in some ways. Some of the ways fiber optics helped us includes creating faster internet speeds and the ability to do international calls. Additionally, fiber optics also gave us better internet security, which made it more reliable than any other type of internet. Unlike cable broadband and DSL, fiber optic connections don't degrade over distance, which allows for consistent premium data transfer speeds. However, fiber optics also have some potential problems that can occur inside or outside the optical cable.
Some of these problems include broken fiber because of excessive bending,
Disconnected cables, signal loss due to a cable span that is too long, signal loss due to a bad connector, signal loss due to faulty splices or too many splices, inadequate transmitting power, and faulty connection to the patch panel. Even though fiber optics are significantly cheaper than copper wires, they are still relatively expensive. Optical fibers started to replace copper wire in the 1970s for many reasons. Optic fibers were less expensive and weighed a lot less than copper wires. One of these reels of fibers, about 4.5 pounds, could carry the same number of messages as 200 reels of copper wire, which is over 16,000 pounds. They also took up less space than copper wires, which helped add additional lines, which was before the wireless telephone calls. Optical fibers also couldn't be affected by other types of electricity. Repeaters were needed to enhance the signals in both copper wires and optical fibers. The fibers only needed this every 6 miles compared to the copper wires, which they needed every mile. Being able to have repeaters less frequently also helped reduce the cost. The most important reason for the optic fibers replacing copper wires was the fact that they carry much more information than the copper wires. One fiber could carry as much information as 256 copper wires, which is about as thick as a human arm. Even though there are numerous pros and cons, the copper fiber cables have been a major step forward into this future, and have changed our world so much since when they were initially invented.
Fiber optics has been worked on and improved by many different great minds. Fiber optics solve many world problems like slow communication, communication distance, and the cost of being able to talk to others. It is also used for entertainment and even has medical purposes. Although fiber optics were used worldwide, they were still relatively unknown. Fiber optic cables also had problems, but despite all these problems, the fiber optic continued to be a worldwide bridge to faster internet, widespread communication, and better healthcare. As a result, the invention and usage of the fiber optic marked a major technological and social turning point in history that helped millions of people around the world connect and communicate. If you really look at it, I was trying to sell a dream. There was very little I could put in concrete to tell these people that it was really real.